Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is the second part of our servlet chapter. If you remember, we have stopped in the first part executing this program. So with the problem that we had, we simply stopped everything and re-executed from the index.html file. So once you run your program from this file, you can see that the servlet, the view has changed, and then I have now the new one. All right. So now if I go back to continue my slides, this second part, I will focus on other parts of the servlets. Okay, so the next one, what I will do now, I will have to deal with a parameter, and I will see within a servlet how the parameter could be retrieved and stored within the request object memory, and then as you can see, it is retrieved and at the same time it is sent back to the client. So let's start with the HTML file that triggers the whole operation. So you can see that we have again a header with the title, so nothing changes here. Then we have a form using a get and calling this time a new servlet called welcome to. And here we have, in addition to the submit button, we have an input text with as the variable is named first name. Okay, it is very important to keep the name of this variable because it will be used exactly as it is inside the servlet. So let's go to the servlet. If you remember how we know it is a servlet, because it extends this HTTP servlet interface, and we implement the do get. So the first thing to start with is we retrieve the parameter that we have that was named first name using the request.get parameter. So at what time this first name was saved inside the request? If I go back in my slides, it's very important to understand this part. If you remember, once we send a request, the web server listens to the request and redirects the request to the servlet container. So the servlet container take as input the whole file representing the request, and then start from the file, starts populating this object inside the memory. That's why the servlet is now able to read from this whole object. Okay, so now using the method that is named get parameter, I am able to retrieve all the different components of my HTML, the different parameters. And then the remaining is exactly the same. I start populating my answer. So everything is almost the same, except when I display hello, and then of course first name is not static but is dynamic because it is a variable that is calculated from this call, and then I simply display this first name. Okay, the whole remaining is exactly the same. This is my HTML file. Okay, I'm gonna show you again using NetBeans. Here is my example. I have the web page, which is, I'm gonna close the two others that were opened before. I have the index HTML. We call welcome to using the get method, and I have the first name here. Then if you go to source pages, you would see, it is simply a package, the name of a package, welcome to. So as you can see, it is the first name. Okay, so you can also, I'm adding here in this example other calls. You can see that I'm printing the header names I am printing also the different elements that are inside my request. So if I execute this page, I type something here, I click on submit, and I print first of all the hello with the parameter, and in addition I implement all the information that were sent within the request and are displayed with these different elements. So now if I go back to my slides, okay, the next one is an exercise that I want you to do. What I'm proposing here, the next example, what you do, you use a post method instead of a guest. And I want you to do is, you're gonna name it a servlet example number 3. So I want you to type some parameter here that you call meters, for example. When you click on submit, so you send this to the servlet, and the servlet would do a conversion from meters to feet, right? And you display using this equation, right? You make the equation, you compute the equation, and then the servlet would display the result in the HTML that is sent back to the client. All right. The next example is, as you can see here that in this example, we have no HTML file. How this could be done? That's because if you pay attention, in this example, this is a servlet that is called conversion, but that contains not only the do get, but the do get and also the do post. And as you can see, which one plays the role of the HTML file is the do get. So the do get is executed first. And as you can see, this do get method contains the form, okay, with the post, of course, because the post will respond and not the do get in this case. If you put here the do get, so we're gonna have an error. So you call the post action and you call the same servlet, right? And then you make the different computations and you display the result. And then as you can see, the do post behaves as a servlet, and the do get behaves as the first HTML to trigger the servlet. Okay, so here you can see that we call request.get parameter, and since it is a string, we convert it to a double, etc. And then because the execution is as this, so we convert from, for example, dirhams to euros, or from euros to dirhams. We type something here, and then we select one of the conversion types, and we click on validate. Once you click on validate, the total amount is displayed as the result. Okay, so you have here both the do get and the do post. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to close the files, the output, and the content of this do get. So as you can see, there is no web pages, but here in the source package, we're going to have this only one file, which is a servlet containing both the do get and the do post, right? And if you remember, this do get contains the form, right, with the method post. What else I want to explain? I want to explain also, so if I execute this one, so if you type something here, you click here, you're gonna, oops, there is some error. I'm gonna fix it and get back to it. Okay, if you see here, not on this one. All right. So you remember I said that in a servlet we have either the do get or the do post, while here what we have a process request. So this is because NetBeans, what it does, if you open the last line, you have a plus here, you're gonna find that you have the do get and you have the do post. And the do get calls the process request and the do post calls the process request also. Since most of the time we call either the do get or the do post, and then it's like we put everything in process request instead of having to write do get and the do post. But you can delete everything and implement either the do get or the do post. NetBeans proposes this way of doing the implementation. So I'm gonna stop here this second part. I'm gonna fix the program for the conversion and get back to you to continue the explanation of servlets. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.